tell anybody where we live or,
Oh no, we won't
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
I should,
No,
I
no,
should say
no,
that.
That's our
you know.
secret.
Okay.
People at home are looking at this going, what the hell are they talking about? You'll never know.
Okay.
Exactly.
See you in a minute.
Okay.
It's National Book Day. Indeed, it's National Book Day. And what better two people to have than my favorite mistress of the macabre and this dashingly handsome Fabio lookalike.
He's prettier.
Welcome to What's the Buzz Popcast, everyone. It's a fantastic Tuesday. Great day today for me. It's been a hell of a day. I got to tell you.
Yes, it
It's been a
has.
really good day. Even Amelia had a great day. We talked about that on camera.
No.
Oh, man. Well, today is National Book Day, and we are joined by the best of the best. Tamara Thorne and Alistair Cross have joined us again. These are two people that didn't do podcasts. Well, unless it was their own.
Right.
But you'd be hard-pressed to find them on too many others. But they like us. They like us a lot, so I brought them back. And plus, that and a lot of prodding from Amelia, goes a long way.
I just said please. Right?
Yeah, right. So how you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Hot,
Busy.
sweaty.
Hot,
Good.
sweaty,
Good.
busy.
Mhm.
Well, Tamara, let me start with you first. Let's talk to you on as we always do, ladies first. What you been up to since the last time we spoke?
Writing, sweating, mostly just writing. We're finishing up a lot of books. And
You
pretty
got a
much my
lot
whole
of them.
life
I'll
is
tell you
writing, petting cats and writing.
that. Yeah,
And
you got a lot of books. Man, I'll tell you, I don't know when you have time to do much else because you
That's all I do.
write a lot.
I do.
You really
I,
do. Tamara Thorne writes a lot, man.
I
She
try.
got a shit ton of books out there. And if go to Mr. Google, I'll tell you what. Mr. Google's got all Tamara shit. I mean stuff.
Oh, it's got all my
All her
shit too.
stuff.
Yeah.
Alistair Cross joins Tamara Thorne. We love Alistair. How you doing, kid?
Good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I have to
Always
tell
good to
you,
be
I
back.
finally finished completely finished book one of the Vampires of Crimson Cove series.
Nice.
Now that's a 3-book set, as we understand, right? But
3
there's
so far. Book
these-
4 will be out September 29th, so in just a few weeks.
That's what I understand. I saw that little post you had about it on Facebook. Looking forward to that one. I'll tell you what, if book 4 is as riveting as book 1, so I can't wait to get to book 2 already.
Yes.
But there's a lot to read. See, here's the
Yeah.
thing you guys out there have to understand. Tamara and Alistair don't know how to write a book less than 500 pages.
That's true.
It's not that they deliberately set out that way, but what happens is the creative juices get going, and it's like, oh, let's add this too. Oh, we need to add this over here. Oh, put some other stuff in. And before you know it, you've got the New York City phone book directory.
Well, that's
And
what
we
makes
try,
it
and we cut a lot out. By the time
We
it
do.
gets to you, it's a lot
It's
is
been-
cut out. We just
Tons are cut.
I don't know how people write short stories.
No,
like,
the
like
characters take over.
that
you know?
baffles me. People who write short
Yeah.
stories, I've tried. That's harder than a whole
They're-
novel.
they're- yeah, and you don't have characters that, the second the character wakes up and starts talking to you, the story's over. So screw that.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's what
So
happened.
now,
Yeah.
Amelia, you're the one that introduced me to these two crazy people. And so let's talk on National Book Day. Let's talk about your favorite Alistair Cross or Tamara Thorne book. What do you like?
Oh,
I
yeah,
never asked you that.
they're all sorry. There's a bug right there. They're all great, actually. I mean, what I like is they actually give each character a little story, how they introduce them at first. I mean, even the plant has a name. And the book,
Yeah,
that's what I like about, because even the little bitty plant has,
yeah, exactly,
significance in the book.
exactly.
You know,
Well, here's
yeah,
the
so,
thing, though, and to their credit,
mhm,
Thorne and Cross
mhm.
think about that stuff. It's
Yes,
important because a character doesn't have to be a living, breathing thing.
exactly.
You know,
That's
it
actually
does.
one
Significance
of the
in the
things
book.
that I learned from Tamara years ago, before I was, writing myself, but was learning to write when I was reading her books, is towns as characters, houses as characters, the setting is a character. Think of, like, if you read her book Haunted, or even, better, Moonfall. The town of Moonfall, is its own character, and that's one of the things that I picked up from
Exactly.
her, when I was reading way back in the day.
That's critical that you said that. And
Yes.
I want people to hear it again what he said. Even the town is a character, and that's what we're talking about. The last time I had you guys here, we talked about character development, and that's the essence of a book is the character. That's why you write a book, to introduce your reader to these,
Absolutely.
various and sundry characters.
Yeah.
Some of them are over the top, some are very laid back. Characters like Tamara Thorne, on the other hand, are just like out there, and you have to love them because of who they are.
And some of them by
And did I
chapter,
mention to our listeners that I just
yes.
love Tamara Thorne? Have I said that yet?
And by chapter, I mean, by the first or second chapter, you already have your favorite character, and you can already
Yes.
imagine the town. You're already yourself. You're already in the town yourself, and you're
Yes.
already walking with the character. And that's what I love about
And
their
I'm glad you
books.
brought that up, Amelia, because I want to ask Thorne and Cross this question. And it has to do with a character from Alistair's book that
Mhm.
you're incorporating into Tamara's work.
Yes.
When did the idea of cross pollination occur with the two books and two different? How did all that start?
It was pretty much right
Costelletti, probably.
away.
Say
What's
again,
that?
Tamara.
Costelletti, probably.
Probably. So Costelletti is like a conspiracy nut DJ. I think he first came into existence in Tamara's book Candle Bay,
Yeah, I think so.
and we thought, why not put him in? Maybe he's syndicated
Everything.
now, and he could be in the
Yeah.
Crimson Cove series. And then it just kind of naturally happened because people love series, but writing a series, not everything can be a series. Sometimes a book just requires just to stand by itself. So we just decided to kind of tie them all together. So I mean, it's incredible how much you'll see, all over the place. We make a point to kind of do it.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
our
that.
world.
Yeah, it's the
Thorne
universe.
and
It's
Cross
the
country.
the
Yeah.
Thorne and Cross universe. Yeah, our Thorne and Cross country, and that's what we call it. And we have a key. We have files and stuff like that where we keep
Yeah.
track of where does
Yeah.
it's fun, and I love being able to do that. I love mentioning one of Tamara's
Well,
characters.
I
from the book
love
she
the
wrote,
idea
years ago.
of the book series, because I'm one of those people, especially when I have a good book in front of me, I don't want it to end.
Right.
So having a series is like, it's like dopamine for a guy like me,
Right.
I
And if you
feed off that
can't
stuff.
do a series, or it doesn't require a series, you tie them together, and you can always, have more of that. Like, there are characters that have been in, it's not part of a series, but they've been in, multiple books.
Well, it's a lot like watching a really good movie that you don't want to end.
Yeah.
The sequel. For example, like one of my favorite movies is The Godfather.
Right.
So I could sit down and watch, all three, episodes of The Godfather, and never get tired of it.
Right.
You know, I start at 10 a.m. and finish it like 8, 9 o'clock at night. So that's a long couple of movies there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you're talking about Godfather 1 was almost 3 hours long.
I know. Yeah.
That's a long ass movie.
But it's good, and so you don't care.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I say you don't want it to end.
Yeah.
Amelia, questions for Alistair Cross and Tamara Thorne?
Yes, because I know that you had mentioned that your book was going to be available already on ebooks, but I mean, I've been telling everybody, don't wait for, I understand the ebook, but wait till you actually have the book in hand, because I like to turn the pages. That's how I am.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, wait, because it is going to be worth the wait. And I noticed that you have 2 different covers. And
I want to tell everybody that I am reading this Tamara Thorne.
Oh, I love that one.
This is really good. This is really good, by the way. This is called Brimstone. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. I don't want to spoil the plot for you. Buy the book.
Well, there's one thing though that takes place in '68. The music that goes with the book is excellent.
Oh, yes.
And it's a coming of age about a little girl named Holly Tremaine, and I think she's just turned 11 in the book. Our next book, Spite House, she's 60-ish, and she's one of the stars.
Yeah. So there's an example of bringing
our universe
out. It's like
yeah. Oh, I love it. And this is the one I just finished.
Yes.
This is called The Crimson Corset. It is book 1 of the Vampires of Crimson Cove series. There are 3 currently. Alistair, as promised on September 29th, book 4. That will be a must-have if you've got 1 through 3, for sure.
It's so good.
Oh, yes. I was like, when I finished, I'm like, no, I have book 2 already. But my question was leading to was the Winchester house that you had talked about earlier is going to be an inspiration to one of your books soon.
It has some inspiration in Spite House, which is coming up, and it's nothing like what you'd think. Writers use Winchester House all the time. Rose Red by Stephen King is Winchester
I love
House.
That.
One of my favorite novels of all time is Robert McCammon's Usher's Passing, and he does Winchester House up brown in that one. Even the armor, the armaments company, everything. And we have something a little bit different that dates back to when I was a kid. My mom and I would go up to San Francisco every Easter to see my grandma. We would stop at Winchester House. So I've been going there since, the Dark Ages. And they have changed the tours tremendously, and what they show you and what they tell you. And that plays a big role in Spite House, because when Alistair and I went there a couple of years ago, and I outright asked in front of all the tourists about what I had heard before, they laughed it off, looked embarrassed, said, oh, they made that up. It was a joke. No, I know other people who remember this too. And that's in our book. And Alistair and I noticed some other things about old Sarah, that they've sanitized her something, and we're going there. And that's the only aspect of Winchester House that we're using in Spite House, which, you might get lost in there, but not because it's
Winchester House, Tamara, has been used as the backdrop or catalyst for a story in a couple of different occasions. Stephen King certainly will tell you straight up used the Winchester House in Rose Red.
That's right.
And I mean, it's a flat out ripoff of the Winchester House. You can call it
great.
Oh, I love it. Are you kidding me? It's one of my favorite King novels and films, by the way. I've loved it.
Yeah.
Stephen King is one of those guys, though, that a lot of horror authors and dark fantasy authors say inspired them. How about you guys? Are you among that clique, or do you have other more left of center authors, people that are less well known?
Oh, King is always good. Robert McCammon is one of my favorites. He's similar to King, that he didn't want to be known as a horror writer, so he kind of went sideways on his career for a while. But you can't go wrong with him. The other one we were talking about, Alistair, the Oh, the one with the house with the people who go in for all the writers go in for Halloween. That was so much fun. We had him on our show. I can't remember his name offhand. Love him.
I don't know.
But I'm a big Nelson DeMille fan. I read everything he writes, and
Well,
I don't
here are
read a
some
lot
of the
of horror.
people that have been on your show: Anne Rice,
Mhm.
Laurel Hamilton, Christopher Moore, Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough, V.C. Andrews. I know that name.
Yeah.
Charlene Harris, Christopher Rice. That's just a handful of the people that have appeared
Yeah.
with you guys. Um, it's funny though, as many authors as we've had here, we've only had, Amelia, what, maybe a handful of
Just
horror.
yeah,
Really, you think?
2 or 3 maybe.
Certainly, Alistair and Tamara for sure, and maybe Carver Pike,
Carver
perhaps.
Pike. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, other than maybe you three and maybe one more.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot of horror authors.
Mm-mm.
Because quite frankly, they don't interest me. I would rather talk to you guys. I
Wow.
really
Yeah.
would, honestly. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass
No.
either. I'm very serious.
Yeah, because I mean, your books, I mean, entice us and they get us hooked. And once we start reading the books, it's like, okay, what's going to happen next? And Angela, have you read this? And we're like, it's like, no, I haven't got to that part yet. Don't tell me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
No, well,
Exactly.
thank you.
That's what we love to hear.
Yes.
We do.
And,
So, Tamara, what process do you go through? Do you write differently when you're teaming with Alistair than you do if it's a Tamara Thorne work
No,
and not a Thorne and Cross novel?
no. I never have. Even before we met, I've always written the same way as I write now, and we work together every day on Skype all day long, and so we're privy to everything, even our solos, and we're each other's beta readers. We read back and forth to each other every day, and
Sure.
but we write on our. We don't know who wrote what most of the time because we write so similarly, and that's why it works. And I don't do anything different.
And
We
tell
do.
everybody how you guys connected. You want to talk about serendipitous. That this is the
That's Alistair's story. Yeah.
yeah. Alistair, you're front and center, young man. Tell that story.
Okay, so I grew up on all kinds of horror, and Stephen King I didn't discover till later in life, but I was reading a lot of John Saul and Dean Koontz, and I was at a library once, and I saw a book. It was Moonfall by Tamara Thorne, and I was actually drawn to the name Tamara Thorne, which sounds kind of weird, but I was. Anyway, I rented it from the library and read it and loved it and went back and got more. And this is way back in the day of dial-up internet.
Right.
I didn't even have a computer. I would go to my mom's house and use her computer. And I remember Googling, Tamara Thorne to see if she had anything new. Anyway, fast forward all these years later, I was this is the stuff I was reading when I thought I really want to do this, but I didn't know really what to do or how to do it. Really overthinking it. But anyway, fast forward several years later, I do start writing, I do get published, all that happens. And I had just gotten published and I thought, I don't know any other writers. I don't, I'm published now and I don't know any of my contemporaries. And so I thought, okay, so I'll start a blog and I'll interview authors on my blog. And Tamara Thorne is one of the first people that I hit her up on Facebook and just said, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to do an interview, a written interview on my blog? And she said yes. And it was amazing because we just started talking and we never stopped. It was just like every day. And then one day, I lived in St. Louis at the time. I move everywhere all the time. I live in a million different places. And I was in St. Louis at the time, and she called me and she just said, how would you like to collaborate on something? And we could, just try like a short story, which, you know how we do short stories, we don't. But we didn't know that. And I was like, I was trying to be all, play it, all cool, like, oh, sure, let me think about it.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you, but of course I was like, you know what I mean? Of course I will. So I waited and I said, I'll think about it and let you know the next day. And of course I knew I would, and called her back and I said, yeah, I will. And we started a short story that turned into basically the Cliff House haunting, which was basically huge. And so it was just like one of those things that it sounds kind of weird, a little bit flaky almost, but I felt drawn to this person and I followed that, and here I am.
I feel drawn to her too. Have I mentioned that I love Tamara? I have a question for both of you, actually. Take this one. Do either of you remember the first time you saw a book of yours in a bookstore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that like? Was it kind of a surreal thing for you?
I think I giggled a lot. It was it was anticlimactic because I already had a big box of my books that the publisher sent. But seeing it in the store, I knew from everybody else that what you do is if the spines were in, that you turn it out to face and cover up the other books so you can sell more. So I did that, and then I took a picture of them, and I had an evil collaborator back then that actually hadn't written any of the book because she got cut out of it. That was the other 900 pages. Oh, you don't want to hear that. Oh my God, that woman.
Jesus.
No, we got paid a huge amount of money, and she told me that we were going to keep the money. She's dead, so I can talk.
There you go. We just found out recently that she's dead. So we're like, yes!
We were going to keep the money, but take the book back. And I called the editor, who's still my friend, and said, we have to do something. He says, can you do the cuts? And I said, well, yeah. So I wanted to anyway. I sound like a real bitch, but honestly, Alistair knows what I went through.
I do.
Yeah, and it matured me as a writer, I'll tell you. And so it was weird. So there was sort of a love-hate thing. I used a different name for those two books, and it was odd. And at that period of time, we're talking about psychopathic behavior. So I was always kind of watching and staying under the radar of this person. And back then I was so young, I didn't understand what all these psychology things meant, when she'd tell me what she would do without her drugs. And I thought, well, you tell a joke to somebody, they're going to be in a good mood. I was wrong. I didn't understand, but now I do. And so it was this whole thing of I was always going around trying not to catch her attention because she stalked me all the time. So it was you can write about that someday.
Really? We actually have a few ideas.
Yeah.
We bonded over that. I can't talk as much, obviously.
Alistair, how about you? The first time you saw one of your books in the store?
I would agree with Tamara. It was more anticlimactic because the real excitement was getting that box of books and seeing your book for the first time. I mean, honestly, it's great that it's in a store, but the thing is they go in stores, they're not in stores. They are, they aren't. Who cares? It's so cool to see. Like even when you just a minute ago held up even Brimstone, and it's not my book, but my book. You hold up the book, and to this day, my heart does a little.
Yeah,
it just. Oh yeah, it's so cool. Like it just seeing that. It's like I did that.
Or like your second one.
Yeah. Like there's a little. Your heart gives a little kick.
Yeah.
You just go, wow, because you want.
Amelia and I had a little pissing contest over that one. Let me just backtrack for the audience in case you're wondering what the hell we're talking about. Alistair sent. Okay, I'm the host of the show. Means I should get first dibs, right? Alistair sends Amelia book number 1 of the Vampires of Crimson Coast.
I get book
I
After I kicked my feet and bitched and whined like a baby,
See
I
how worn out
finally
it
got
is to
book
never get
number
first?
one,
Well, what's
which
funny
you
is
see in front of you right here.
I didn't even think about it. You said, "Oh, we want signed copies," and I thought, well, I'll give one, and the other one, and I didn't even. I just signed it, gave it to the publicist. She sent it out. I'm done. My
Yeah.
part's
Right.
done.
I remember I've written 2 books. Nowhere near this. I'm probably like that. Okay. Which is a couple of 100 pages. 220, 225.
And I've written some poems probably like that.
Yeah. But when I agree with you, Alistair, when you open up that box and you see your name on the cover of a book, and I did the artwork for my book
Yeah.
too, so
Yeah.
and it was
It's just there's something so amazing about it, and it never. The Midnight Ripper is the 4th book in this series, the one that we were talking about that's coming in September. And that one, I guarantee you, it will feel the same way the first time I see it as it did the first book. It just, that's like
Yeah.
the 7th.
That's like
It'll
the
be number
first
7
time-
that I've written on. Yeah, something like that. And it never gets old. It's just, it's so gratifying.
It really is. It's like the first time you get to hold your kid. It's it's like your baby. This is your baby.
That's something you
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Amelia, questions.
Are
for
you guys
Thorne
ever
and Crook.
gonna be doing any book signings across country?
Not
The
question.
thing is there's a few things, and first of all, almost everything has gone digital. So we do a lot of blog tours.
Yeah.
We do a lot of that. Also, like with COVID, I don't even know what the hell's going on with that.
Yeah.
Not really. Nothing is planned for that. It's kind of a shame. I know some authors are probably doing that, but we've just kind of. I don't
We
really.
like this.
What's that?
We like this. We're home buddies.
Kind of, and I hate to say that. But that's not my idea of a good time. So I don't really want to. I would if
I give my
it
years
became
on
something that I felt-
convention circuits.
Yeah.
And you know what, Tamara? That's becoming the norm now for authors. And I know quite a few authors. We have them on the show often.
Yes.
It's becoming the norm now for them to just work from home,
Yeah.
use Zoom or
Mhm.
Skype or
Yeah.
like the
It's nice.
format that we're using.
I love it.
And I hear authors tell me that there's a level of freedom that does not exist
Mhm.
if you go out on the road and you're
No.
doing signings or you're standing up at a podium at Barnes and Noble.
Right.
We try not to take too much time away from writing, and
Yes.
it's important because every time, even a weekend, we have to go over more.
Right.
So if we do have a vacation, like take a trip or something, we spend a week afterwards getting back together, and it's just easier to work from home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I would never leave if I had a choice.
No, you could miss something that you want to collaborate real quick with each other. Oh, I thought of this idea. Let's write this down or something like that. And you could reach each other.
Well, Amelia, continue that. Questions for Alistair or Tamara on that regard?
Yes, of course. Has it been like at maybe at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night that you thought of an idea and had to reach out to each other? Oh, can we write about this real quick?
Nonstop.
It's been 4 a.m.
Yeah, we
4
just turn our phone down at night, and we,
Yeah.
when you wake up to pee, you check your machine, and if you feel, we call them text machines.
The text machine.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because Alistair, you just brought something up. Stephen King, for the first few years of his writing career, said that he slept with a notepad and a recorder by his bedside, so that if he woke up in the middle of the night with an idea, he could document it. He could talk into his recorder and jot down, sleepy notes on a paper.
Mhm.
The whole 4 o'clock in the morning thing is like, first of all, that's the witching hour for a writer, especially Tamara. Um, but it really is. You know, a lot of creative people are like insomniacs that can't sleep. So I'm wondering if that gift has hit you guys. Are you
Oh, I sleep
natural
fine.
insomniacs?
I sleep fine, but I
Yeah.
sleep fine. But if you get an idea at 4 a.m, you get an idea at 4 a.m. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I don't.
Mhm.
We text instead of I used to take notes when I was on my own, but we tend to text each other. Remind me in the morning, blah blah blah, and we just tell each other because whether it's for solo or double, we
Yeah.
decide that later. We
Yeah.
just
Oh,
share.
that's such a blessing to have that somebody
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
bounce off of. I want
Right.
Oh.
everybody at home. This is Amelia's favorite part of the show and tell.
Yes.
I put a
Yay.
little. I had to do the Reader's Digest version because there was just too damn many books. This would have been like an hour slideshow.
I liked all those books. What are you talking
I
about?
just had to put like something quick together. So
I'm gonna have to get
here's
a different bookshelf.
here you go. Here you go, Amelia. This is your slideshow tonight.
Yes.
There you go.
Wow,
We never get
tired.
tired of seeing all that. We do
No.
have a lot of work. We work our asses off.
Covers.
Exactly.
Wow.
Go ahead, Amelia.
Sometimes you think, we really need to kick it up a notch. We really need to, and then you see that, and you're like, wow,
It's not too
we've done
bad.
a lot of work. It's not
And
bad at
that's
all.
just a small smattering of
It's not bad at
what
all.
I put together. You guys have a lot of books, combined and together. Jesus, and a growing library, by the way. Oh, speaking of libraries, before I get to Amelia, how do you guys archive your work?
Archived it? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, and when I use the term archive in the literary sense, how do you library your books?
Like what genre do we consider them?
Do you
mean like the books we read?
Yeah, I mean, do you categorize or archive your books by the first one, the next one after that, to the latest, or do you put them in order of importance to yourself?
Oh, I put them in order of release.
Okay.
That's
I
just
don't
what makes
put
sense
anything
to
in
me.
any order. I just stick them on the bookshelf.
Sounds like my bookshelf, huh?
That
As
would
long
surprise
as they
me.
fit tallest to
What's
smallest.
this order word you speak of? We
Yeah.
don't know. Order.
Yeah.
As long as it's from the tallest
Maybe
to the
order
smallest,
was a bad
it's fine.
choice.
Alistair is my ADD stopper. So, He's the one with order. I just go wee, that's it.
Go ahead, Amelia.
I just want to
go
point
you,
out,
Ben.
because I was looking on Facebook, and you were saying something about you were going to be doing something for the audience, cost efficient, because of the way times were.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, so we
Slashed our prices.
have slashed our prices, all of them. Like for the ebooks, we can't really. There's not a whole lot. We don't have much control over the paperbacks, and so we can't really do a whole lot there. Paperbacks cost a lot of money to produce, so you can't really. It's not as flexible. But our ebooks, we've cut like 50-60% off on all of our ebooks, because the thing is, everything has gone up in price so much, and we just don't think that reading, it's ridiculous. This is just my personal opinion, and maybe it's not a popular one, but I personally feel annoyed when I see an ebook for $15.99, $14.99. Why? It doesn't.
Publishers have to cover the cost of the rest.
Right, but the thing is paper. I understand that takes production, and I understand that there's money that goes into ebooks too. But our books were never more than like $5.99,
$6.99 tops. Yeah,
$6.99. But we're down to like $2.99 and $3.99 mostly now. We just wanted to give everybody a break, because enough is enough.
That's
we
interesting.
appreciate it. Yeah,
that's really interesting. And the two books that I wrote, I self-published. I used a company, an online company that's very popular among people who self-publish. I went on there actually about 10 days ago, 10 days ago, because I was going to reorder copies of my book for people. People have been asking for them. And to my surprise, they were only marginally higher than my original print price.
Right.
Maybe like $20 more to do a whole run. They have my artwork, they have my text, they have everything. So it's just a matter of the cost of the paper and binding, really, which is, I don't know, how expensive it is nowadays, but they're only charging just around $20 more than my initial run, which I thought was actually pretty decent price. You guys are not self-published. You have a publisher, correct?
We do, and it's a mix of everything. We've done big, small, independent. It's a mix.
So we do have a lot of say, especially over ebooks, because we do most of we send out to editors and things, but we are extremely interested in doing everything we can ourselves, and we can fix our own typos and things like that. We know how to do it.
Well, Tamara, that's a great segue. Is there, I don't know if it's if I want to say, is there a technical difference, or if there's a difference in editing an ebook as opposed to a pen and paper book?
You can fix an ebook a lot easier if we go on and see, oh my God, look at that sentence is turned around. Before, when I was only published by a big publisher, I have a radio station called KNDL, Candle Bay Radio, and it came out with like KS. Somebody put their fingers on the wrong keys, and they didn't correct the galleys that I had. It bothered me for years. First thing I did when I got my hands on it was go, okay, this is going to be fixed, and that's what made me happy. And
good.
Eventually,
and that's another big plus of the the digital. I love that I was able to grow up during a time when before social media and all that. But that's great. But I have to say, I love the internet. I love cell phones. I love these things. And one of the best things I think about the digital age is it gives you that control, that the ability to do that. It's like, we see
typos.
Somebody writes to us and says, hey, I don't know if you knew this, but there's a typo in chapter 7 of this book. Oh, okay, well, let's go fix it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Right.
Have either of you had the experience of having someone say to you, I don't understand this, or I don't get it, explain this to me, in regards to a book or a story or a short story or an article? I'm
No.
curious. I'm
What?
asking for a very specific reason. I know people who do film. I know we have a lot of filmmakers on the show.
Oh yes, we do.
And one of the things one of the guys said to me was, if a viewer watching my movie doesn't understand it, I want to know. If he doesn't get it, I want to know.
What?
So I'm curious if somebody reads your book, Alistair, and says, for example, here, take the Crimson Corset, and they've got this big book in front of them. That's a lot of reading to do, right? If they say to you, I don't understand, the chapter or whatever the hell. Here you go. That's chapter 63. Okay, explain chapter 63 to me.
At first, I'd be like, "What the hell happened in chapter 63?" But
Right?
but I think that one of the most difficult things that a writer will face ever is simplicity. Writing simply. Simplicity is power. If I got multiple people saying to me, "Look, I don't understand this, that, or the other," then I would obviously have to look at that and go back and be like, where did I because you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. Right. So it's real easy to just assume everybody is on the same page, so to speak. But generally speaking, that's kind of your goal, is to write in a way that is accessible to everyone. Obviously, you're not going to nail that 100% of the time, all the time, but being clear should be one of your top priorities.
And that said, what they do, readers do sometimes, they tell you, or they review it and tell you, everybody else, what the book is about. And that's when it gets hysterically funny.
Right.
It was actually a short story, and it was about a man whose kids came along and killed his dog. They thought he was a mean old man. And the whole story, all that was in the story, there was nothing supernatural. But I said that he got to kill the kid that killed his dog, and to me that was justice. And that was all the story was. Oh my God, no. Evidently, I wrote about the devil. It was hysterical. And we see that all the time with all our stories. They read things in, and that's fine. I see a cat shadow.
I had to move my camera because I'm totally distracted by this. Behind me is my bed, and I have 1,000,000 pillows because I sleep with 1,000,000 pillows, and so I covered it.
I think
I want everybody to see that it's my bed, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it looks like there's a dead body. Actually, it looks like there's like 2 dead bodies in my bed. So I'm trying not to stare at that, but there's.
You waited 45 minutes into the show to
move. He's like, I killed this person, and I don't want nobody to see the body, so I have to hide it.
Well, I didn't want it to be like, look, this is where I work. Sometimes, last time I did the show, I was in a different room, but this is actually
a dead body.
This is actually my bedroom, and I'm like, I don't really want it to look like my bedroom, so I'm going to cover the bed. It didn't work.
Tamara Thorne, the Mistress of Macabre. I think it's a fitting title for you. What do you think? Are you okay with the Mistress of the Macabre?
That's fine. Whatever. I don't care what you call me. Just call me. Yeah.
I mean, I found with your books,
I enjoy it.
And Alistair's books, I mean, as soon as I started reading them, I can understand the plot. I can understand the characters. I mean, I get right into the book. And if people don't understand that, then they're not reading it correctly. As long as
that's like I said, like that's the goal. It's like, obviously, if multiple people were saying they didn't understand something, then there's obviously something I'm not being clear about. But as a writer, you really that's like your top priority. You got to be clear. They say, somebody said, and I'm going to paraphrase and probably jack it up, and I don't even know who I'm quoting, but some famous author said, simple writing is damned hard writing. And it's true, because you can get caught up in silly things like somebody jumps a fence and they land on the ground. Okay.
Yeah.
you sit and
can get lost
describe
in
how their
detail.
body went and all this stuff, and then somebody comes along and says he landed cat-like on the ground, and you're like, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well-
It's simple.
You can get lost in the detail for sure.
Sure.
One of the things I've always believed, I believe it in my personal life, and Amelia and I have talked about this too. Less is more.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yes, absolutely.
By
We
the
say that
way,
a
the
lot.
mistress of the macabre, you almost became the Hellcat of the Hellfire Club, but mistress of the macabre was a little.
I think I've been called this a lot. It seems to me that's followed me around for many years, actually. That's
I
kind
call her
cool.
the diva
Elvira.
of darkness.
Oh,
There
that's
you
Diva
go.
of Darkness. That's right. You gave me a button that says that.
Diva of darkness.
Mistress of the Macabre is fun because I really like Elvira.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what's not to
Elvira,
like?
she was the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she still is.
Oh yeah, she looks
Yeah.
looks the same. She has not
Yeah.
aged.
Incredible.
She looks remarkable for a woman 90 years old. She really-
Right?
She's in her late 70s, I think now.
Yeah, she's been around a long time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember, Tamara? Do you remember back in the 1950s, a woman named Vampira?
I've seen pictures of her and heard about her. She did not like Elvira. I know that.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, wow.
she did not at all.
No.
Apparently, this woman Vampira sued Elvira for gimmick infringement,
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
as we say in the world of wrestling, gimmick infringement. But they did not like each other at all.
Not surprising.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, that was crazy stuff. So Amelia,
Yes.
you've been very quiet tonight. I'm used to
I've been
usually-
listening to
What-
them speak.
I don't want you to
actually.
listen. If you want to listen, go on the other side of the TV. Questions for Thorne and Cross.
No, I've been just listening because I mean everything that they've been saying, I understand completely, and
Mhm.
they're answering their questions and as well asking the questions. But I love that they have lowered down their books and everything for people with the ebooks. But like people gotta understand too. It's like I said, there's nothing like holding a book, turning the pages and
man.
everything like that. And I know you guys have a lot of future books in the works.
We do.
How many do you write at a time, like within a month, at least?
Phew.
We normally write 3 per day. I mean, we write on 3 per day. Right now,
Right, $3 a day.
well, we normally are working on a Ravencrest novel and a big thriller horror, a standalone, as we call them, and each of our solos, and I'm counting those as one. So I guess if I count them right, we work on 4 books a day.
My goodness.
And
Yeah, because we get on, and here's an example. We get on, and for 2 hours, this is what our day looks like. For 2 hours, about an hour and a half to 2.5 hours, but roughly 2 hours, we do the main collaboration, which right now is Spite House.
Yeah.
Then we break and we go to the next collaboration, which is Ravencrest, which is ongoing. We're always kind of doing that. Then for the next 2.5, 2 hours, whatever we do, she does her solo and I do my solo.
Yeah.
So it's like a full 8 to 10 hour day, and there are 3 at least books that we're working on every day.
So you're putting in like a regular shift, like a work shift.
it is a work shift.
Wow.
It's more than a work shift because it's much
It
more
really
than a work
sounds
shift
like
because
it.
I do then you have all the marketing stuff that and I focus that on the weekends mainly. So I've never worked this hard and this much in my life, and I've never.
No,
been
I do
happier.
the formatting and our newsletter and all that kind of stuff, and he does the PR stuff.
Yeah.
I've heard writers talk about this. Some people say it doesn't exist, but this colloquial thing called writer's block. I've asked both you guys, and you say it doesn't exist for you.
Not so far.
We don't allow it.
Explain to people listening and watching this, particularly people listening on the radio right now, which are probably several 100,000, 600,000 or 700,000 right now. Explain to them what the hell writer's block even is.
Sitting at your computer.
I've heard it said. I've heard someone explain it like they have gotten to their keyboard and they look at the blank page and they have like a panic attack. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, that sounds like an anxiety disorder.
Yeah. It's intimidation.
And it's probably more than writer's block. To me, and this is just so far, I don't, maybe it could happen. It's never happened to me. To me, writing is my job. Your alarm clock goes off in the morning. You get up to go to work. When I was working a normal job, I never laid in bed because I was so stressed out about going to work. Although if I had a horrible enough job, then maybe that would be the case, in which case I would say you need a new job. But writing, you get up and you do the work, you do the job. If I ever feel stuck sometimes, I mean, that's normal enough. You get to a place and you're like, well, I don't really quite know where to go here. So you brainstorm, you go for a walk, you read something, you watch something, there's a million ways. But I've never been paralyzed by the blank page. To me, it's just a job. I'm not trying to create some brand new whole work of. I'm just doing a job. It's writing is art, but it's also craft.
And
how about you, Tamara?
Craft, you do it.
Yeah.
Does that apply for you as well?
Yes, and we have each other, so we generally brainstorm. But if I'm alone and before, all I do is I sit there and I start typing and I say, okay, I can't think of a damn thing to write, so I'm just going to talk about why rhubarb is so weird. I wonder why it's poisonous. Probably just the leaves. I wonder what would happen if I poisoned somebody with rhubarb. Would my cat eat rhubarb? I hope not, because I wouldn't want him poisoned. I like cats. I don't like people. Right. And it will go off on this tangent, sideways thinking, I call it, until all of a sudden I'm just writing along and the story's there again. And it has nothing to do with rhubarb. That's just an example.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's gonna be interesting.
Each other, and that's those 3 a.m. texts or all evening texts. We're sitting there texting. It's brainstorming.
Is that where the poison plant thing came in to write a book about that?
For him.
I know. No.
I was thinking of my mother's garden when I said that. Yeah.
No, I was just fascinated by the idea of poisonous garden.
Oh,
yeah.
Is there going to be 5 soon?
I want the police to know that the missing Miller family is underneath the behind Alistair.
They're right behind me.
No. Is there going to be a book 5, Alistair, coming up soon?
Oh yes. I'm going to go until people don't want to read it anymore, or I don't want to write it anymore.
Yeah.
I am getting eager to do something a little different.
More story. Trust me, brother. You can do 5 out of that series.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and the book that's coming up right now is kind of a gateway book. It's this book will be introducing the concept of a whole bunch of different monsters. I don't want to do just vampires, so I'm kind of expanding, and so that will make it a lot easier for me. It'll make me a lot happier.
Here's a serious question for the two of you. We talk about the use of werewolves and vampires and creatures. Have you ever thought about utilizing, or have you ever utilized a human being as the monster of the piece?
Oh, yes.
Oh, goodness. Mother. Yes. That's the most.
Mother. Our book, Mother, there's nothing there's a hint of supernatural about it, but it's not a supernatural book. It's a straightforward thriller. And the idea of that is that human beings are the biggest monsters of all.
Absolutely.
And your family, specifically.
Yeah. And Eternity it's Jack the Ripper, but he's a human serial killer, even if he is rather long-lived.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting that she said that, right?
Very interesting that you should.
We're just going to say the same thing. See, we
just did an entire series, and in fact, we're continuing it next week on unsolved murders and serial killers. In fact, to the point where we had Dr. Anthony Tobia here, the department head of psychiatry at Rutgers University, Robert Wood Johnson Medical School, to explain the mindset of serial killers. I may have them back to explain the mindset of Thorne and Cross.
Good luck.
Dr. Tobia would have a ball with you guys.
Just don't tell him what's behind Alistair.
I know, right?
I still
It's
think
pillows,
it's
I
the
swear.
Miller family.
It is. Heart. Hearts
Well, I'll
smart.
tell you what. It's been you realize this has already been an hour?
Already? Oh my
crazy.
goodness.
Yeah,
You guys are fun.
it's
And I was just
already
going to
been
ask him
an
if he had
hour.
another series coming out besides this one, like a different type of series, like having maybe some heroes fight the monsters or something.
Yeah, we have. You know what, Amelia? That's a good segue. Why don't we talk about very briefly? Let's give people a little teaser about
Mhm.
what's coming up Thursday.
Okay.
And I want to actually get. I'm going to get up for a moment and I'm going to get the book.
Okay. Because of me, he blames me that he has to print out a lot of paper now. So he has his own book.
This is another guy that doesn't know how to write a book less than 600 pages.
Our kind of guy.
It's actually a really good book. It's a really good book.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is the kind of stuff I love. This is Dan Emer. D.W. Emer will be with us Thursday night. His book, The Satan Gene, is catching on like wildfire. He's selling this book like crazy. I can't even believe how many copies are already out. But it is a very finely tuned work of historical fiction, fact, conspiracy theories out the yin yang. If you're a conspiracy buff, you're going to love this stuff. It is The Satan Gene. And
Cool.
and it is every bit of man.
It's 87 chapters,
You're
I
looking
think.
at
86 chapters.
552 pages.
Yeah.
Every bit of it. And I mean, look at this. This is Thorne
Yeah.
Cross, and look at this stuff. These are 3 books. That looks like the New York phone directory.
You get your money's
And
worth.
Yes, you do.
Alistair
You
and
absolutely
Tamara's
get
stuff.
your money's worth and some, I tell you. So if you haven't got those books yet, please go
So
get
I
them.
want everybody to join us Thursday for D.W. Emer, Dan Emer, and his brand new book that is just blowing off the bookshelves, The Satan Gene. And I am going to make sure that you guys get a copy of it. And I'll take care of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely is right. So, Amelia.
Yes.
What do we got coming up other than
Other
Dan
than
tell everybody what's coming up.
we actually have next the 13th we have we're going to be doing Marilyn Monroe. The death of Marilyn Monroe.
Who killed Marilyn?
Mm-hmm.
Was it the Kennedys? Was it an overdose? Was it something more sinister?
Yeah, we're gonna find out a little bit about that because
we have some acquired photos from the Freedom of Information Act.
Mm-hmm.
We will show. I will not tell you where we got them from. I will tell you, however, that they were filed legally. They were attained legally from the National Archives. And we will show pictures that have never been seen publicly before of Marilyn Monroe and President Kennedy.
Yes.
So get ready for that one.
Absolutely.
The other thing we've got coming up is a continuation of our unsolved murders. We have, oh my goodness, Amelia.
The 15th, we have WWE star Chris Benoit.
Chris Benoit. Was it suicide or was
double
he
murder?
Hit? Was it a hit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. New information coming up that perhaps wrestler Chris Benoit did not commit suicide. It was not a murder-suicide. That he was killed and his wife and child were killed in front of him. That's what they're saying. Who are they? We will find out who they are on that episode. I will tell you that we've got some controversial episodes coming up. We will never, ever veer away from controversy. And you said, Angelo, push the envelope and push it hard. I will push and push and push. Trust me, I will push. Amelia, we're going to push, aren't we?
I said I want some episodes and I want the good ones.
Absolutely. we're gonna push the envelope hard on this one. I'll tell you what. Great having them back. Love to have
Yes.
Thorne and Cross back. Tamara Thorne, Alistair Cross, two of our favorite authors.
Yes.
But they will come back anytime we want, as long as Amelia gets them before I do.
Yes,
That's
and
right.
tell Berlin, I said thank you so much for letting
Absolutely.
us spend
Yes,
some time with you
thank
guys.
you.
It's great to be here, Amelia.
Yes,
Yes,
and thank you for
thank
having us
Absolutely.
on. We love coming on. Thank you.
And again, today is National Book Day, everybody. So do yourself a favor. Do Thorne and Cross a favor. Do Amelia a favor. Read a book.
Yes.
Okay. Take care, you guys. We'll see you Thursday night.